Hi, this is Arthur, and this is a summary and explanation of the story of all main quests released in the game Wuthering Waves version 2.2. Rover is chatting with Abby and Renacita when they bump into a bard named Chacona. Chacona was sent by Carlotta to use her forte to recreate Cardathia's frequency. Side note, many people in the world of Wuthering Waves have special abilities called fortes. People with fortes are called resonators. Chacona uses her forte to recreate Rover's memory of when she met Cardathia, but somehow actually contacts her. It seems Rover and Cardathia are connected through their tacit marks. Abby shows up and they all chat about Imperator, concluding Imperator was trapped in an inverted tower in the sky. Cardathia says her true form is also currently in an inverted tower inside an inverted sonorosphere in the sky. Cardathia's memories are fragmented, so she doesn't know everything about herself, but she can tell Abby is unwell and likely needs Imperator's help. Rover says she wants to go to the inverted sonorosphere, and Cardathia says there's an entrance to it on land and it's protected by a barrier. Cardathia also says she sensed someone with jellyfish wandering around outside the barrier. Rover then wakes up from Chacona's forte and meets a man named Sebastian. Sebastian says the head of the Phasalia family invites Rover over to chat. Rover figures the head of the Phasalia family might be the jellyfish person and accepts the invitation. Rover heads over to Portovino Castle and meets Cantarella, the head of the Phasalia family. Cantarella explains the Thronodian in Renacita is named Leviathan and possesses the power to merge and assimilate. Leviathan uses distorted beliefs to spread a spiritual plague that devours civilizations from within. Leviathan has actually already invaded Renacita and merged with Imperator, whose will is fading. This merged being is what the Order of the Deep currently worship. Cantarella wants Rover to help save Imperator from Leviathan. Rover mentions Imperator's resonator, and Cantarella explains Imperator chooses a resonator by resonating with that person through an artifact that is currently in the room. That artifact is the Sword of Divinity, named Turvan, and only the Chosen One may use it. Cantarella says that in the past the Phasalia family would hold yearly divine trials where young women would overclock their fortes and try to resonate with Turvan to try and gain the ability to wield it. Side note, overclocking is when a resonator loses control of their forte abilities, potentially causing harm to those around them and themselves. Cantarella adds that none have succeeded in the divine trials. Cantarella was one of these young women, and during her trials saw a vision about Imperator's corruption and the inverted tower in the sky. Cantarella also learned Turvan can break the barrier around the inverted tower sonorosphere. After hearing this, Rover figures Imperator may have created the inverted tower sonorosphere and deliberately left Turvan here to be found. Rover remembers Stinksy and thinks Imperator may be trying to save itself through a second resonance awakening. Side note, in a past quest, a second resonance awakening managed to save a sentinel and grant its resonator a greater power. Rover also thinks that she may be able to wield Turvan. Rover then somehow wields Turvan. Rover tells Cantarella about what happened before and that Rover is the arbiter of the sentinel. Side note, it's revealed in past quests that Rover has a relationship with the sentinels, though she doesn't remember much about it since she lost her memories. Cantarella is surprised and lets Rover keep Turvan as it seems Rover is its chosen wielder. Cantarella says the Phasalias have access to the inverted tower sonorosphere and takes Rover there. Cantarella also confirms she is the jellyfish person Cardathia mentioned earlier. Along the way, Cantarella talks about how Leviathan has repeatedly tried to influence the Phasalia family since they know the truth about Leviathan merging with Imperator. This is why she wants to save Imperator and free the Phasalias of Leviathan's influence. We also learn the inverted tower is called the Avenolium and was actually a seminary built by the Order of the Deep. The Avenolium is also where the second dark tide occurred. Fortunately, after the second dark tide appeared, the Avenolium somehow disappeared into the sky and the dark tide vanished along with it. Cantarella suspects someone inside the seminary, possibly Cardathia, must have done something to stop the spread of the second dark tide. They soon reach the entrance to the Avenolium and, using Turvan, break through the barrier and enter. Inside is Cardathia. They chat a bit before Cardathia tries resonating with Turvan, but fails. Cardathia suspects she isn't Imperator's resonator, but may be Leviathan's. Though Cardathia couldn't resonate with Turvan, it does restore some of her memories and that there are two other swords. If Turvin and the 2 other swords are placed in certain pedestals, they can break the seal over the Avenolium's main tower and allow entry. At Cardathea's instruction, Rover places Turvin in a pedestal which elevates them into Avenolium's inverted sonorosphere. Cardathea explains the inverted gravity keeps the Dark Tide and all its tacit discords trapped here. Rover retrieves Turvin and they continue on, eventually finding Turvin's designated pedestal and placing it there. Rover suddenly sees a memory of Cardathea's coronation as Imperator's Resonator. Abby then pops out and says a big frequency just entered Rover's tacit mark. The group thinks it came from the sword and that it might be a portion of Imperator's power. They decide to rest and Rover speaks to Cantarella. Cantarella explains long ago the Phasalia family was given Turvin by Napoli II, the first Primus and leader of the Order of the Deep. Napoli revealed to the Phasalias that Leviathan was invading Renacida through the Dark Tide. To help fight the Dark Tide, Imperator gave Napoli a portion of its power. This power gave Napoli the ability to imbue echoes with the strength to repel tacit discords and purify the Dark Tide. Napoli's new powers were contained in a lantern and inside Turvin. Unfortunately, giving away a portion of Imperator's power weakened Imperator enough for Leviathan to merge with it. The struggle between Imperator and Leviathan also affected Napoli and tore his soul apart and made him commit many misdeeds against his own people. When Napoli gave the Phasalia family Turvin, Napoli also asked them to kill him. Side note, it isn't clear, but presumably the Phasalias did kill Napoli. The Phasalias have kept this secret up until now. After they rest, Cantarella leaves with Turvin to do her own thing, and Rover and Cardathea head to the next sword and pedestal. They find the next sword named Hognis, and after placing Hognis in its pedestal, see another vision of Cardathea's memories where she confronts Leviathan. Rover gets another frequency added to her tacit mark, and Abby says it tastes like Leviathan. Cardathea also gets more of her memories back and realizes she is a resonator born of the merging of Imperator and Leviathan. They head to the 3rd and final sword named Haltir. They retrieve Haltir and place it in its pedestal, which shows them a memory of Leviathan telling Cardathea it created her, and her resonating with Leviathan is what brought forth the second Dark Tide. After the vision, Rover gets another frequency added to her tacit mark, and Abby says the clashing frequencies Rover got earlier from the swords has calmed down. Cardathea gets more of her memories back and says that last frequency Rover got was from her. Cardathea explains the crown she wears is what Leviathan uses to control its resonator, and that she is indeed Leviathan's resonator. When Leviathan unleashed the second Dark Tide, Cardathea split a portion of herself into the Cardathea standing in front of them now, who is free of Leviathan's control. Side note, going forward, I'll refer to the Cardathea in front of Rover as Cardathea, and the other Cardathea as Fleur-de-Lis. Cardathea says Fleur-de-Lis retains most of their power. After splitting Cardathea off, Fleur-de-Lis destroyed the merged Leviathan and Imperator. Unfortunately, Leviathan then assimilated into Fleur-de-Lis. Over time, Leviathan's influence has worn down Fleur-de-Lis's resolve, and Fleur-de-Lis now wants to destroy everything, including herself. Cardathea realizes she's been instinctively looking for someone like Rover to bear the frequencies Rover got from the swords earlier and defeat Leviathan, who is within Fleur-de-Lis. Now that they've placed all 3 swords in their pedestals, the main tower should be unsealed and Fleur-de-Lis should be inside. They head to the main tower. Once there, Cardathea asks Rover to use the powers granted to her by the frequencies the swords gave her and merge Cardathea back into Fleur-de-Lis. After they are merged, Cardathea wants Rover to defeat them and trap Leviathan in her lifeless body. Rover acts like she will do as Cardathea asks, but changes her mind, lets Cardathea live, and leaves to battle Fleur-de-Lis alone. Cantarella arrives and says every candidate for the Phasalia family's divine trials needed to resonate with Imperator through Turvin. Those who survive the trials receive fragments of the truth, but also lost memories that were stored in Avenolium's sonorosphere. Those memories contain a portion of Imperator's power, and Turvin absorbs them. Cantarella offers Turvin to Cardathea and asks her to wield it. Cantarella also reveals that during her divine trial she actually achieved a second awakening, but gave that energy back to Imperator so that it could momentarily regain control from Leviathan. Fleur-de-Lis seized that moment and used it to defeat the merged Leviathan and Imperador. Cardathia then leaves to help Rover, and Cantarella stays behind to hold off some incoming Tacit discords. Cardathia joins the battle against Fleur-de-Lis, and when things look grim, adds herself and her power to Rover's Tacit mark. With this new power, Rover defeats Fleur-de-Lis, who then transforms into Cardathia. As Rover looks at a deceased Cardathia, Imperador contacts Rover and they chat. Imperador says in the past, Rover asked Imperador to uncover Leviathan's true nature. That's why Imperador merged with Leviathan. Once merged, Imperador learned there is no way to destroy Leviathan so long as civilization exists. They can only contain Leviathan. Unfortunately, merging allowed Leviathan to breach Imperador's mind, and Leviathan accessed Imperador's knowledge on how to create its own resonator. Leviathan then created Fleur-de-Lis. However, since they were merged, Fleur-de-Lis was also Imperador's resonator and could help it fight Leviathan. Additionally, Imperador somehow hid the fact Sentinels can only have one resonator. Imperador then used Napoli to give Turvan to the Phassalias, where Cantarella would become a safeguard. If Fleur-de-Lis fell under Leviathan's control, Imperador planned on using Cantarella to undergo a second awakening. This would turn Cantarella into Imperador's second resonator, violating the rule of Sentinels only having one resonator. Violation of this rule would somehow destroy Imperador, Leviathan, and Fleur-de-Lis. However, Cantarella chose another way and gave all her second awakening energy back to Imperador. This allowed Imperador to momentarily regain control over Leviathan and compel Fleur-de-Lis to strike them both down. Imperador says that though it is now dying, it can serve as a conduit and use the energy Cardathia put into Rover's Tacit mark to bring the deceased Cardathia back to life. Imperador then brings Cardathia back to life and even revives the Fleur-de-Lis aspects of herself. Cardathia seems fine and says she senses Cantarella is fine too. Rover then heads to Portovento Castle and chats with Cantarella. Rover also relays a message from Imperador that from this day forth, the Phassalias are free. And that is the end of these quests in this video. If you liked what you've seen here, please like, comment, and subscribe.